Why should Rashford or basically anyone get this much time at a club like United's structure to prove themselves?
Well, I think new manager. I mean, everyone's got a fresh start to an extent. I mean, there's players like Anthony where I'm like, I think you got to go. Mason Mount, if he can stay fit, but if he can't stay fit by the end of the season, I think you got to go. For me, with Marcus Rashford, like he's not been good enough the last year and a bit, but we know the levels he can hit. Do you know what I mean? Like if you've hit those levels once or twice before, he's had 3 seasons where he's been up there for player of the season, you know, a 45 goal contribution season. He's the reason Ten Hag probably wasn't sacked in his 3rd season with his goals. Like I generally believe there's a really talented player, Marcus Rashford, and I think he's quite an easy scapegoat for when things go wrong. Like, yeah, he's not been at his best, he's not been good enough, but that people are like, oh, it's Rashford's fault, it's Rashford's fault. And it's like, was it just Rashford's fault? Could Rashford have done better? Yes, but are there bigger problems there? And I think, in my opinion, if Rashford can find form and get going, he's fine. I've said this on Rashford. I like Rashford. I think he's a good player. I think if you get him closer to goal, more centrally, Amorim's system, he's going to be left forward maybe, closer to goal, higher up, more centrally. I think he's a good player there when the defensive responsibilities aren't there, when he's not asked to be a touchline winger. And of course, he's a confidence player. I was disappointed with him at the weekend because I wanted Rashford on the left and Ahmad on the right. And I felt that Rashford was getting the ball and he just didn't have that drive to take on his man and make things happen. He didn't have that intensity, I guess you can say. He reminded me a bit of Sancho sometimes when he played for United. We used to get frustrated that he'd hold the ball and then he'd just play the safe pass and stuff. And I want Rashford to sort of just take on his man and dribble, and he needs to do that himself. But I do think Amorim's system could benefit Rashford. If Rashford is crap from now to the end of the season, we have to look at it and say 2 crap seasons in a row. They may have to look at selling him, yeah. But for me, he's better than Anthony without a shadow of a doubt. I think Garnacho's probably been better than the last year, but I think he's a better player than Garnacho. Yeah. And I think, you know, Ahmad for me is probably our most important winger because he offers a different dynamic, but there's still an experience with Ahmad where we're not really in a position to say Rashford 100% out the door. But if he is poor this season, I think we have to look to cash in on him. But I generally think he could be a good player under Amorim, and I think we could be quite quick to write him off because I know what he's been capable of in the past.
Did you lot think yesterday, man? I can't lie, I was quite sad watching Rashford play yesterday, man. I looked at a guy that I thought, yo, you're done, man. Because you know what the thing is for me with Rashford, he would always at least be willing to engage with the defender. And bro, he did not engage with him. Like, you see Ahmad running with the ball. Like he tried to do it once, and listen, it happens in football, yeah. And then the dribbling went left, you know what I'm saying? It went over for a throw in here. But then after that, he was like, I don't think I can do this, you know. And it's just nothing. And the fans next to me were like, yo, get forward. I said, bro, he ain't going to do that anymore. And what he's doing now is he'll turn and look to cross it in. And it's just so basic.
Getting blocked every time.
And it's getting blocked every time. That's why, for me, someone's put a comment there about number 9. I think he could be Ruben Amorim's number 9. And I think for me, that's probably his best suited role for me in this new 3-4-3 system where he's the lone striker. And listen, you know me and you flexed outside Newcastle was the one where I was like, yo, he can't do that role, but surely a 27-year-old, for me, I think he's better.
Different demands, different team, different setup. Look, I know, again, these are the things, though, where, like, because it's a new manager with new ideas, something we thought we could never see, we could see. We could see. And I'm so open to that. And I said this the other day. Remember, Owen, what was it, a morning show? I said, can I just ask you something? Rashford is a 9. And everyone went, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. And it's like, what's how you said there of in this system, out of inside 10 / wing back / 9, which one would he most be suited to with the chance creation of how he might want to build?
Are we forcing him in there? Are we forcing him in by doing? Is that are we going into
maybe out of what we've got? Zerk can't hold the ball up. Hoyland's having a tough time. He can't hold it up. Maybe you go direct and say he just runs in behind more of a deadly finisher. I don't know.
You don't. The funny thing is, obviously, with a lot of these players, we don't know, but we have to give them the opportunity, right? Yeah. And that's across the board. There's only one player that I'm probably unwilling to give an opportunity to, and that's Luke Shaw. You know, just because I'm tired of it. Like, I'm tired of it totally. Like, I don't even care if he does the Shaw special and does, you know, the greatest. You know, when Shaw under a new manager and trying to bamboozle us, it's, you know, it's a script that's written over and over again, and we're almost foolish to fall for it. Now with a player like,
you say the same with Rashford? Could you say the same with Rashford there with that?
No, but Rashford's in terms of him being there, him being available. Like, Rashford is available is the difference. Sure, like is not available. And that's the only thing that really hurts. Sure, I'll be giving him a fresh start and say, you know what, it's a blank canvas for all these players.
What if he stays fit now? What if he stays fit?
No, I can't do that no more. I can't. If the manager,
you can't do it. What if he stays fit?
If the CEO says as banter,
yeah, that was crazy.
Mate. You know, he's laughing, he's playing around, almost like it's jest. But then literally happens. As soon as he says that, we don't see him again. You know, like someone's got to tell him Ten Hag's gone. Obviously he knows, but I'm saying that's how ridiculous it is. You've been so far removed. It's dumb. Now, a player like Rashford, there's a level of it like what if it does work out? You know, what if he does work out as the left side 10 or the leading striker? So as the leading striker, what if it does actually, like, you know, him running in behind? Rashford can do that. He doesn't want to do take-ons, but he will run in behind.
I don't know about KJ. I'm kind of a bit sick of what ifs with certain players when we know what the answer is, don't we? Really, you know what I mean? Like you said, like the Luke Shaw is a great example. Well, what if he stays fit? Flex says in jest he's not going to. A bit like with Rashford. Well, what if it works? Like, let's be honest. Like, I remember like 18 months ago, we were sort of going. I said on one of these shows, I was like, I just don't see Rashford coming back to where he was, and that's fine. Well, a couple of years ago, like, because that might have been just crazy form, but it's the just up and down, up and down. We were talking on Friday, weren't we? Going like in the big teams, and you talk about who are their biggest and best players. And if you do take like Liverpool, you got like Mo Salah, always delivers. Even like, you know, people like City, where it's De Bruyne or Erling Haaland, always deliver. You know what you're gonna get. Our biggest players are like what? Bruno and Rashford, and you have no idea really what they're going to do. Maybe Bruno a bit more consistently than Marcus Rashford, but you just can't see it. But I don't know, Alice. I'm just like, you know what people are. You kind of saying it earlier on. I don't like sometimes to go into like the body language stuff, but I just don't know if I see it now. I think we want. This is when we kind of talk out both sides of our mouths. We want Ineos to be ruthless, but then we have player sentiment where we don't like to see certain players leave, and it's actually like, well, sometimes. You know, we praised, Ruben Amorim for it earlier, going Ruud van Nistelrooy. He's done a great job, but sometimes then you have to be ruthless and go, what's best for Man United? What's best? What's actually going to get us to win things? What would be the best for us right now? And look, Marcus Rashford, in terms of like his international career, miles off it. And bear in mind, remember, guys, this time he had a full summer of like training. I'm going to be ready for this year, and it's the same as it was before.
Let's be fair to him though. He has like their attitude, and it's really dumb that I'm actually kind of saying this in terms of praising him for his attitude, but his attitude has been better. He has been.
We can't basically do what ifs with certain players and then go, actually no, or no, I'm not going to do what ifs with certain players, but now I'm going to do what ifs with other players, because that just makes no sense. Especially when our biggest thing, like there were big Erik ten Hag defenders going, Eric should these players and these players are this, that, and the other, and then the new manager comes in and they're like, well, what if actually these players actually are better than they were? And you go, well, no, I thought if they're snakes, they're snakes. If they're not, you know, then they should stay. Like we've seen it. The sample size is big. You know, I'm all for when we sign new players, like the Ugarte one, right? Ugarte, a couple of weeks ago, people go, oh, he's the worst signing ever. And you go,
tell him again.
He's barely, yeah, exactly. He's barely played. And he's already breaking records for United. Most tackles we've ever seen in the Premier League game as a Man United player. But then a player that has been, or players rather, that have been at the club for like 5 years, 10 years, we're going, maybe now's the time they turn it around. And you go, well, fool me once, right?
Yeah. Can I just add, and this isn't like an excuse for Rashford, but there was a period where he had about 3, 4, 5 good games for us. He scored those 2 goals, was it versus Porto, was rinsing the defender, and then Ten Hag was talking about his winger rotation, and he puts Garnacho on for Rashford, and then Garnacho can't cook the fullback like Rashford was. Rashford was taking on his man, he was cooking him, and then all of a sudden, Rashford's playing right mid, but he's playing like a defensive right mid. You know, Rashford plays his best when he's a left forward more than a left winger, not touchline. Like he's really up there, but he's slightly to the left and he's forward. And then he's playing like right mid, and Delo's running in front of Rashford and getting forward more than Rashford. And I was like, I'm not completely defending Rashford. Like he needs to step up a bit, but he was being utilised so badly just as he was starting to build form. And I was like, oh, we're starting to see Rashford. And then you move him right mid. And I couldn't understand what Ten Hag was doing there. So I think there's still something there, but we have to see it, and we have to see it soon.
Yeah.
That's why I made the point.